Guten Tag, we're still on the island of Rügen on the Baltic Sea in northern Germany, and this is a dolmen called Goldbusch near the town of Altensien. I think that's how you say it. This is a cute, compact little dolmen. It used to have two capstones. Only one of them remains. They're not really sure where the other one went. They must have taken it and broken it up for something. So you have to picture that there would have been another one of these right next to it. This is again typical of the dolmens that you see in this region of Germany. They're built up on a mound, and then they have a ring of curbstones around them. Now this capstone has a lot of these little cupules on it, like we saw on the French Dolmen de Bonarme. They're kind of hard to see on camera, but there's an indentation here, there's one here, more here. I think they said there are 27 of them on this capstone. There was a map that was drawn in 1829 of the area around the town here, and it showed 43 megalithic graves, but now this is the only one that remains. The 19th century was devastating to megalithic monuments. So how did these monuments get built? They required a lot of people to build them. It required a lot of strength, a lot of energy, and so you had to get people to come from miles away to come and build them. So the reason they think that they were able to do that, so there appears to be an increase in wealth and power from some individuals, because it would require somebody to be able to garner the resources and the influence to convince a whole bunch of people to come from a distance, to all come together and build these megalithic monuments, and they were rewarded with a feast. And so there had to have been a surplus of agriculture and animals in order to provide for these feasts to bring everybody together to build these monuments. So the development of these megalithic structures, or monuments is another term that you could use for them, seems to be indicative of the beginning of ancestor worship in the Neolithic. Because before the Neolithic, people weren't sedentary, they weren't settled, they didn't seem to really have any kind of monuments that people would return to over and over again, because they didn't need to worship their ancestors, because nature gave them everything they needed. But once people started settling and farming and building things and developing things, then the people who came before you, who set up those things for you, became very important. And so one theory is that they started making these monuments, though, as a way to remind people of the past and bring people together in memory of the past and the people who came before them. But then, because, people are people and people have really not changed at all throughout history, A lot of these monuments probably became vanity projects for the local rich guy, sort of like the pyramids in Egypt that were being built around the same time. So sometimes these structures could maybe be shows of wealth. The island of Rügen is the largest island in Germany, and it's been inhabited for thousands of years. It was inhabited before the Neolithic. But if you look at a map of the megalithic structures on the island, you'll see that they are very concentrated, particularly in the southeast, but there's some further up the coast in the east, but people were very concentrated on the eastern side of the island, and so that's where most of the structures are. And they think that there were just not enough resources on the western part of the island to support larger groups of people, and there don't seem to be as many rocks, big rocks, over on that side of the island. So the majority of the dolmens are down in the southeast corner of the island. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little visit to this dolmen on the island of Rügen. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more history and travel videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Tschüss!